And it worked. Yay. Yeah, I can't do it ahead of time now. And now I need to do this. And hopefully there we go. I'm gonna mute you. Hold on. Let me just see one thing. There we go. Boom. It's all working. Alles ist in Ordnung. Wir können anfangen. It's a little German for you. I was watching The Empress last night on Netflix, which is about Empress Elizabeth from okay, from the Habsburgs, Austria. Anyway, and it's in German. It's like my German studies. So let's start today. I said we were going to do the lymph flush because I have noticed my own health. I am way healthier when I do the lymph flush regularly. So, but we're going to breathe first. So just coming into our bodies, breathing, 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 softening. Inhale, expand away from center, and then the exhale, coming back down. So we could think of this as we talk about navel radiation, radiating away from center and then coming back into center. Radiate outward, get bigger, and then exhale, soften, come back into yourself. Let's do it differently. Let's radiate out and then come in. Get big, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Can go in any direction. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Maybe I'm going too fast. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Just take a shake, shake it out. So that idea of growing and shrinking with the breath is a really nice one to start to feel in your system. And you can do it in bed, in the morning, at night, during your day. Just think about it every once in a while. We're going to do the lymph flush. So, yeah, this is all for health, right? Movement and deep diaphragmatic breathing all stimulates lymph, but we can also manually manipulate the areas. So I'm taking my right hand to this upper left quadrant. Under this clavicle, the subclavicular area is where it all comes back into the bloodstream. So, and I'm going to move inside of that as well. So I'm turning my head, relaxing my tongue, and I'm getting that whole area. Sometimes I see people do it and they do this. And it's like, that's not going to, I mean, it might, but really get in there. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. You can be gentle, but just be on the surface, moving up to this part right behind the angle of the jaw. Usually, when your lymph nodes are a little clogged, you can feel it up here, right? Lymph nodes get swollen. So, feeling into that angle of the jaw, and then I move under my jaw. Relax your tongue. And then same thing on the other side. So getting around and under the clavicle. And if you look at pictures, like you can look online, the beauty of the interwebs is we can see everything on there. If you look at pictures of our whole, like the nodes, the lymph nodes and the lymphatic system, you'll just see this little knob and then a line, little knob. Like that's what's happening in there. And that is a detoxifier of our body. It's the number one detoxifier. Well, maybe breath and skin. But if our lymph nodes get blocked, that can show up on our skin. We can get ill, different things. So we want to keep those systems, those fluid systems in our body really alive and moving. So getting in there. I'm just going back and forth up here. And since this is the place where it's going to come back in and refilter through the system before it comes back out again, we want to make sure that the entryway into the end of the line is clear so that it can keep coming back in. Next place, right hand on the left armpit. If I knew my left from my right by now, but they don't feel that different in my body. For some people, I think they really are strongly right-handed or right-footed or whatever, right-sided. But for me, it's like, oh, kind of the same. Okay, other side, same thing, into the armpit. And like, so it's like the armpit, the pec, you can squish it around. If any of it feels tender, then just be more gentle, but still get, like, you can go slower, you can change the tempo. I feel like different parts of my body have different tempos. And if I listen to it and it says, oh, slow down, then it's good to listen. All right, next place is the sternochyli, which is right, here's my belly button, here's my xiphoid process, right in the middle. So to get into there, I'm gonna actually soften a little bit, curling around it so my hand can go deeper. So sternochyli is deep in our body. It's not right there on the surface, so pushing in. But if you think about dropping a pebble into the water, how the ripples radiate way out to the edge of the lake if you're in still water, it's the same thing with our bodies, right? If I'm touching in here, it's going through. And also, if I had this idea that I want that cisterna chyli in there to like have clarity, movement, it's not stuck, no blockages, then that is going to help too. All right, next place, inguinal fold, right in there between your pubic bone and your hip bone. So it's above the fold of your leg and just going in and out. Right here, as they would say in the behavior panel, in the grotesque plane, right? It's a little weird to see somebody touching anything close to their genitals, but we have a whole bunch of lymph nodes in there, so clear it out. Get that alive. And then the last place is going to be right behind the eye of the knee, getting in there. And I like to bend and straighten as I'm doing it. So this system of these 6 places that I'm doing is, I learned it from Dr. Perry Nicholson, who's pretty amazing. You can follow him at Stop Chasing Pain or Dr. Perry Nicholson. And he's on Instagram, he's on, and so am I at Laura Victoria Ward. And I do a bunch of stuff on Instagram. So if you don't follow me there, follow me there. Let's go with some twisting, horizontal plane. And I'm doing weight shifting. There's so many ways that we can do this. So the horizontal plane would be the table plane. It's out here. Horizontal plane, we have our side-sideness and our forward backness. Horizontal dimension is just side-side. Let's go into the horizontal dimension for a second and do like a big shift and shift. Big weight shift, weight shift, weight shift, weight shift. Then we're going to cross it. We're going to cross a narrow and then open wide. Going the other way, crossing, narrowing, opening wide. I feel like I'm a Dr. Seuss character with this sweater on. Like these stripes are very Dr. Seuss. One of my great heroes of writing. Open and cross and open. Good. So that was really moving along. If we imagine that there's a line here, that would be the horizontal dimension. Let's go forward and backward with the sagittal dimension. How do we want to do that? Let's go like, let's just do one hand forward, one hand back, one hand forward, one hand back. So you can feel that there's a natural spiral here. I could take my hips with me, and then I'm kind of changing, that might be front. But if I want to keep this as front, I want to try and keep my hip bones facing front and get the spiral in my torso. So try it where you let your hips go, and then try it where you try to keep your hips stable toward the front, and you'll get more of a spiral in your upper body. Right, so sagittal front back. Sagittal dimension, a point in front and a point behind. So here's the sideways version. If I turn my hips, then I kind of make that front, right? So we're trying to keep hips square to whatever your front is. Let's just shake that out, let that go. And let's circle in our pelvis. Listening to all the creakiness of my floor in my old house. Circling, circling. Let this move through your feet. And change direction other way. So I'm just thinking about surfing. Like if we were surfing, the way that we would tell our board what to do would be this relationship between our feet and our body, right into the floor to find our balance. Like if you're even on the subway, surfing the subway, not holding on, it's this relationship of the information coming up from underneath you into your body. I just want to name that so that we can think about that. That's part of how we balance, right? We feel what's happening underneath. Do I need to adjust on top? And these circles just somehow remind me of surfing because I like to think that I have a surfboard under my feet as I'm circling around, right? So we want that mobility through our feet, ankles, knees, hips, so that we can balance. We want a really strong information neural pathway coming from the ground up and from the top down, right? We can feel what's happening. Oh, I've gone off vertical. Oh, I can feel it, right? And from the bottom up. Like, since we're always walking on flat floors and flat surfaces, which is not great for, we don't have to adjust, right? Our muscles aren't learning that adjustment that if we were like running around on different leveled things with uneven surfaces where we have to adjust, that would be great for our tissue. So since we're not, then we want to put in these other patterns so that we have this more three-dimensionality in our tissue. All right, last thing up here. I'm going to do it sideways, arch and curl. Inhaling, open, exhaling, hollowing, rounding. You can do this with your legs and arms both turning out and then in. Sometimes, see that again, we get the feet going. We have the rotator cuff and the hip sockets doing something if we're doing that turning out and in. If it's hard to balance, just leave your legs and do the upper body with the spine. Arch, curl, spiraling open, rotating in. Inhale, open, exhale, close. Last one. Inhale, open, exhale, close. So this relationship from our fingertips through our arm into our chest, lungs, and heart, into our diaphragm, right? This is all coming in. If I move on an internal fluid level, there's a, what's the word? A ripple, I don't want to say a repercussion. I don't know, there's words that would be better. But as I'm turning in and out, it's requiring more motion in here, right? This is healthy for the rotator cuff. And we can think of the support system from our fingers through our radius and ulna, which do this, right? When they're open like that. When I do this with my hand, the radius crosses over the ulna. And the ulna is the one that you would hit your funny bone, right? So radius and ulna, that's got that spiraling nature. Then we take that into the humerus, into my collarbone, my clavicle, where we were before with the lymph flush, and my scapula, right? So when I encourage that relationship, fingers through into my body, and as a big three-dimensional relationship that is supported and moving together, then I'm also encouraging this lymph to move, right? Because I'm not like, oh, I'm just moving down here, but I'm having this whole center to edge, core distal relationship through my body. Really important, especially as we get more and more sort of disassociated in our typing and in our texting, that we keep coming back to this growing and shrinking with the breath that's going through our whole body, staying one whole system that's working to support itself. Let's come down to the floor. Yeah, so that we are often able to resource within our own bodies. It's not out there, it's in here. I mean, if you don't have clean air or water, it may be out there. If you don't have good nutrition, it may be out there. But if you're getting good nutrition, sleep, all that stuff, then we should be able to start to come into ourselves to resource a little bit. Opening it out, side stretch. Inhale, open. Oh, nice little crack. Using your breath. Again, we have this relationship from the fingertips through the rotator cuff, now through the body, all the way down to my sit bones. And once I hit my sit bones, I can also feel what's happening through my legs. One whole connected body. And let's circle the whole way around, taking it to the side. Yeah, this particular exercise, there's a few exercises that I really only do when I'm teaching, and they are very helpful for my back. But somehow, unless I'm teaching class, I don't do them, which is one reason why I need to teach regularly so that I do the exercises that my body needs. Inhale, open, and let's change legs. So non-dominant leg comes in front, and we're actually going to change the exercise. We are going to get back to that circle, but we're just going to circle our torsos. So again, head, tail, circling, diaphragm, lymphatic system getting some mobility. Is there anything stuck in there? And sometimes we're thinking of stuck as being something that we sense as like, oh, this muscle's tight or something else. Sometimes the stuckness can be different. Like it could be, oh, there's a lymph node that's a little bit blocked or something else. So just inviting it to unstick. Circling the other way, if you haven't changed direction, change direction. I don't even know which way I was going, so I'm just going to keep going back and forth. And then we're going to take it into that side stretch again. And we'll just go a little slower, like hanging out there, breathing into it, taking it down over your knee, surrendering into it, and bringing it into center. Over to the other knee and side stretch. Opening it up. Let's go back. Let's go just a little faster a couple of times around. Circling. I have all sorts of stuff going on. I took ballet last week on Friday with my teacher in the city, Lisa Lockwood, who I love. And then also, yeah, like I was at pole on Monday, but I have certain places in my body that require a little bit more warming up than other ones. Let's take it down to the floor. See if I can get into those places. Yeah, I feel like all of us, oh, all of us have little torques and twists and things that are sort of within our system. Let's go with a heel rock. Just letting your body relax. Trying to send a wave of movement, a wave of watery fluid movement up and down through your body. So it's not like I'm this stuck system. It's like I've got all this freedom, skin as the container, and the contents. If we just imagine that it's all fluid and watery, we might move more easily. Ah. And then let that go. Yeah, in fitness, our modes, and it's not surprising if we think of Victorian era, our modes of fitness tend to be more about stopping movement, like control it, than letting it free up and be alive. So that's not entirely true, but it's partly true. Let's bend our knees, drop from side to side. Yeah, a lot of our culture of like education and work life is about sitting still while we do something. So that really doesn't work for me. I function better if I can move a little bit. I learn better if I can move a little bit. Yeah, I can focus better if I'm not trying to be still. For some people, it's different. Some people are good at stillness focus, but I don't know. I wasn't swaddled as a baby, and I also had a lot of movement as a baby. I had a little baby bouncer. Like that is a way that helps me stay alive. So, all right, let's come in. I'm going to take your hands, just rub them together. Feel the two palms of your hands, and then just take your hands over your eyes for a second. As you're there, close your eyes and just let the big ball of your eyeball soften downward into your head. So it's not bulging out, reaching into the world. It's just softening in. Letting your palm of your hand just hold the eyeballs for a second or be above the eyeballs. And if it feels good in there, to just move your eyes around really softly and gently in there, like easy, easy, easy. You can. If it feels better to be still, then do that. If it's possible, think of really relaxing your neck, throat, and shoulders. Just letting your weight drop into the floor. Yeah. All right, you can rub your eyes or do whatever you need to do to come out of that. But that's a great just softening for your eyes. You can do it any time in the day. Just rub together, cover them up, give yourself a break. Your eyes will thank you. Let's take our hands on our knees and make circles with the legs. So circling around. Yeah, and just having done that eye thing has slowed me down a little bit, brought me more into a parasympathetic, rest and digest, soothe and settle, and change direction. It's funny because sometimes I say in the beginning that I'm heavily caffeinated. Um, I think that heavily caffeinated to me means like I had a cup of coffee because I just have a lot of energy already. So if I, we're not going to use any props today. Press your pelvis up, open it up, circles. If I have 1 cup of coffee, and granted it might be a larger cup, but it's not like a grande. Yeah, 1 cup of coffee is heavily caffeinated for me. Change direction. Easy circles. My feet are very wide today, and I'm going for pretty big circles. Change directions again because I want to get that big weight shift from side to side. I want to get the up down. And I'm also not like, I'm not squishing up my muscles. I'm allowing them to work when they need to work, but I'm not like trying to engage anything extra. Like, just think about animals. They're not trying to engage and work their muscles. They just do what works, right? What is natural to them. Come down. And we would be wise to look at animals and babies for good movement as opposed to looking at, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. Rolling back and forth, rounding through your spine. And having said that, even within animals, they hold different tension patterns. And that could be because of their genetics and also because of the stresses in their life. Like my white kitty is just a noodle. He's like water. You touch him, he doesn't feel stressed about anything for very long. Like if he's upset about anything, his needs are usually met pretty quickly. But the other kittens are a little more, or the gray peapod is a little more nervous. Let's go one leg and then the other. Taking your time, you can take this bottom leg and either kind of lengthen down from your torso down and out, or you can do that little curl up. But maybe just play with that for a second, playing with the bottom leg. Like if I think of lengthening from my psoas, from my torso out through my leg, there's a real lengthening there. If I kind of pull into a more Pilates position, it's a little balled in. But it's nice to feel the difference between the two positions where it's kind of in or kind of out. I don't know if you guys can see that. You probably can, because this would be the in, that would be the lengthening out. This is the in, that's the lengthening out. Change it to the other side. So yeah, we think, oh, we're stretching this top leg, but really we can also be stretching that bottom leg, letting it come up and in, and then lengthening it out and away. Up and in. Most people in our seated culture are pretty tight in the front of their hip flexors, so this might just be an opportunity to get more length in that hip flexor. You can play with it. Even drop your head down to the floor if your neck and shoulders get tired. Good. And then let's just switch back and forth. We're going to have 3 switches. 1, 2, 3. And then the legs are going to circle out and around. 1, 2, 3. Out and around. 1, 2, 3. Changing. I'm going to flex when I do the out and around just to give my foot a break. I'm also going to lay down on the floor so that I'm not pulling up and in with my head and neck as much. Circle it out. So pick up, go down as necessary for you. Just listen to your body for that cue. Last set. I was going to do a whole set, but then I decided that was enough. Open it out so that your soles of your feet are together, knees are open, and just rock that from side to side. Let that massage through your butt and hips, also freeing up the flow of your spine. So there's energy moving up and down. From here, we're going to leave the legs like that. We're going to exhale up and pulse, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to come down. Legs go out to the side. Open up, stretch, and then fold it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, come down. Let your torso lengthen, let your abs relax, and stretch your legs out. Maybe they're here. Maybe the stretch is there. Wherever it is, it's fine. Coming up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Open, stretch. Last set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Open it out. You can bring your legs together and relax. Let's turn in. So we did all that opening. Now we want to do some internal rotation. So I'm opening my feet wider than my sticky mat, internally rotating one leg at a time. Breathing. I'm letting that spiral move through my leg all the way into my hips, all the way up here. Like if we think of our legs really attached to our torso, and guess what? They are. We have our psoas going on the inside. We have all this tissue, our skin, fascia, everything. And not to mention like the vascular system, the nervous system that's moving through everything, right? We're one whole system. So if I think of my whole system as a whole system and really feel into that, I lost what I was going to say about that. Oh, I know. It's that the feeling of this leg as being connected into my torso is very apparent to me. Switch it to the other side, same thing. If you're just going back and forth, that's fine. But in this position, what I was going to say is that I can really feel this connection of my leg into my torso. Like I can really feel if I pull that down, I can feel the movement up here, right? Yeah. Coming back in, take the arms and legs up and shake, 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 let it go. And then release down. And let's roll onto our sides. I've been doing a lot of this knee drop stuff from a seated position. Let's do some of that. Just rolling across one butt cheek and then the other. We're going to change it today. We're going to roll. You're going to press up, arch, and then we're going to come forward and then roll it back up. Staying in this spiral, taking it down and then rolling it up. So a little arch and curl in your spine. It might be on the incline. So I'm a little open and a little twisted, listening into my own body and then switching it over to the other side. To the other side, I'm going to come up and over and then surrender down to the floor and then roll it up and roll it down. Rolling it up and rolling it down. Did I do this from my head? No, I was doing it from my pelvis. So pelvis to head, pelvis to head. I hope I did that sort of the same on both sides. There's so many possibilities. Let's go back to the first side, and this time head down, and head up. So we're dolphining. We scoop and round, head up, scoop and round, head down, head up. Big circle over to the other side. Head initiates, down, keeps on initiating, arching up. We scoop in as we curl, taking it down. Arching, opening, curl and hollow, down, arch and up. One more. Yeah, so I was telling you that I have my weird places, and one of my weird places on my body is here. So it's got to be probably a mixture of like my lats, the muscles under my scapula. Like there's a nice little activity going on there that I'm sure I did something to it in pole. And so it's just like, okay, what's happening? But it's like one of the regular places that I get into. So doing that arching and curling just gave it a nice little bit of movement that I could be aware of it without being horribly in pain, right? I mean, it's actually not very painful. It's just like more about awareness. And I think this is a good thing to think about. We want the intelligence to know, like, if I do something, am I injuring myself more or am I hydrating tissue and am I moving energy through the area? So you want to start to really listen to your body of like, is this good pain or bad pain? Or is this maybe sensation is a better way of looking at that? Hands behind your head, because I think we've been so taught out of listening to our bodies that to come into really honoring that, I'm still working on it. Elbow behind your knee, right? And it's been my whole life's work to listen to my body. but it's so much in the culture to override your body or to force it into things or to do things that are really dysfunctional and uncomfortable, like that it's hard to clear that away. Taking it to the side, reach it out, open, blossoming to the ceiling, hands behind your head. Feet can be flexed, demi-point, point, or just relaxed, whatever feels good to you. Down, take it out, open, open, open. Hands behind your head, elbow to the floor, reach, open, grow away from the floor. Soften, open, open, open. So I'm really focusing on this expansion away from center. We call that navel radiation, stretching out. We did that in the beginning, that growing and shrinking. So down, reach, radiate away from center, open. And it's very active from the inside to the outside for me. Reach and open. And then I noticed that maybe it's a little too active, so I back off a little bit because I was listening in. Good. Let's take it down the center in any way that feels good. You can do it with bent knees. Breathing into it. Here comes my little noodle of a cat. Yeah, let's see if I can demonstrate his noodleness. You saw his little, it's like, he's like water. He can just pour himself out of any situation. He's only learning about attention right now, or like sitting on laps and stuff like that. We kept the cats out of our room, like when Anthony and I had COVID, we kind of kept the cats out, and they did not like that. And so this little guy was like, wait, I really need attention. He was used to just having it. So once it was taken away, it made a big difference for him. So now he's like 10 times more affectionate than he was before. All right, let's go into a hands and knees position. Big circles for the chest, lungs, and heart. Mobilizing. Let your spine do whatever it wants to do. Head, tail can do whatever it wants to do. Change direction. And then come in. Let's go opposite arm to leg. Out, in, out. Stay there. Take it to the diagonal. Bring it in. Same side. Out, diagonal, in, out, diagonal, in, out, diagonal, in. 3 more. Diagonal, 2, diagonal. Last one. Diagonal, and switch it to the other side. Out, diagonal, in, 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 out, diagonal. 3 more. 2, last one. And bring it in. Walk your knees back, big circles with your hips. Stick your butt out in the back, pelvis to the floor. Breathing into it. And then change direction. You can take your time in any of those positions. If you need to be there longer, go for it. Using your breath. And then let's curl our toes under and just take it into a downward dog. Walking through your feet, calf and Achilles. Reach your tail to the ceiling. We're going to lift the heels high, scoop the belly in, round your spine, roll it forward, push your heels back, and then just push forward and back. Head forward, heels back. Head forward, heels back. Head forward, heels back. Head forward, heels back. Bring it to neutral. Drop your head, push with your arms. Roll it up to the ceiling, articulating through the spine, and lower your heels. Heels high. Scoop your belly in. Roll it forward. Roll, 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 roll. Find it. Push forward and backward a few times. Feel the relationship of arms into your body. And then drop your head. Roll it up to the ceiling and lower your heels. Last time. Heels high. Scoop the belly in. Roll forward. Find that length. Push forward and backward. This time just come down and relax. Figure eights with your hands, in and out. Feeling, again, that relationship from the fingertips through that spiraling tissue, spiraling in and out all the way into your heart and lungs. You can make it bigger, opening and closing. And if it's uncomfortable to sit on your knees, come up, do it standing, sit on your butt, anything that works for you. You can see, like, I can go bigger, or I can keep it more here, right? Just listen into your own body and play with variety. Like if you're not sure, try it. That's been always pretty much my way of dealing with things. Like if I took ballet class and there's two different schools, I'm going to go to both of them. I'll probably spend more time at the one I like the most, but I want to know both different things. Two different systems of capoeira, Haitian or Angola. I did both, right? I want to know what is happening on this side, what's happening on that side. What do I like about this one? What do I like about that one? So that always taught me to keep trying things in different ways. Let's come onto a side forearm plank. You can leave the knees on the floor. If you want to make it easier, you're here, make it harder there. Pulsing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Switch it around to the other side. It could be said, like a lot of times schools of movement want you just to commit to them. And I have to say, I didn't always do them both at the same time. Sometimes I did one school first, second school afterwards. Like sometimes in order to really learn, you need to dive deeply into one system. But sometimes you need to dive into a bunch of systems. So listen in. What's interesting for you? Press it up. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Take it down. Circle it back to your first side. You're going to come back down all the way onto your side. And we're going to do Batmas up the side, kicking up. So legs are straight down below you. We're going to just go up and down. You can flex up, point down, whatever you want to do with your foot. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Swing it around to the other side. Same thing. Kicking up the side. Ideally turned out leg. Legs straight down below you, not in the Pilates pike with your legs slightly in front. Up and down. 1. So you are in a line in your body. You're not folded. 4. Oh, I'm right on the creaky floor. I'm wiggling around. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. And relax. Take it onto your back. Cross one ankle over the other knee. We're just going to let the legs fall to one side. Oh my God, the creaky floor is driving me crazy. And probably nobody really noticed it if I didn't point it out. Oh well, it is what it is. This house was built either in 1895 or in 1870. Not quite sure because there's sort of records of both. Change direction, or change legs, sorry. Change legs. Letting that massage out the back of your hips and giving yourself some free flow as you allow your body to fall one way and then the other. It's funny. Free flow and bound flow are two concepts from Laban movement analysis, from effort. And people are like, well, what is free flow? What is bound flow? The best thing to say is if English is your first language, free flow is free, bound flow is bound. So, like, you could imagine that, like, if it's water, free flow is like a wave coming in. Bound flow is like, oh, now we have a channel that that wave has to stay within, right? That's not even the best thing for it, but we can think of free flow as being very immature in that it's not controlled, immature in that there's a sense of freedom. And bound flow is being much more mature and controlled and specific. Bound flow, easily stoppable and controllable. Free flow, not so easy to stop and very sort of, I don't want to say, I do want to say out of control. It's not controlled, it's mobilized, it's freedom, it's not rigid, right? So there's these two, if we even thought about what that was, freedom and rigidity, and really thought about what freedom is, bringing it into our bodies, into our life. It's not stable for most people, right? You want to have more freedom in your life, you're going to have a lot less stability. Look at mine. But that's okay. You know, it's like, do you want stability? Really? Or do you want freedom? Really? Like, do we think about what those things mean? All right, let's end this by doing some hip stretches. So coming into, let's do this one. You're going to cross one over the other. If you want to fold the bottom one under, you can. You're going to draw your knee in and spiral, twist, looking around behind you. If the bottom leg does, if your butt pops off the floor on this side, like if you're like that, then straighten the bottom leg so both hips can be in. I'm still staying over there. Breathe into it. Try to really draw your weight down into the floor so that you're not like crunched back, but you can lengthen up and be in that position. We're going to change legs for the counter stretch. So same thing on the other side, changed. Well, this is the one. Yeah, that right knee is still not totally back to normal. I don't know what normal is for my right knee, but it's a lot better than it was. Spiraling, trying to bring your weight into evenly into both sit bones, spiraling up out of it. Looking around behind you, see what's back there. And then come in, unscramble, give them a little bang, still giving the knees some love. So squish around. It may be your hips, your calf, your ankles, whatever you need, just squish it around. Give it some attention with your hands. Yeah, manual manipulation is my friend. It's like how I usually heal things a lot faster than if I just leave them alone. And it doesn't mean, it could be very gentle, very soft, very small movement, or I could really dig in there, right? Like I can touch basically just the hairs on my skin, so light, and that's still going to have an effect underneath. I can touch my skin, I can get a little deeper into the superficial fascia, I can go into the muscles, or I can even go in to reach into the bone, right? Those are just different ways of touching in. So if we start to develop some discernment in our touch with ourself, we can also start to develop some sensation of how that feels when we're touched in those ways, right? Like, oh, I need to get into my bone a little bit. Like I want to have density. I want to have this relationship. All right, just slide your heels underneath you, take your butt up to the ceiling, open your feet wide, shift from side to side, let your head hang, breathe, soften, melt. Yeah, you can become very fluid with this. You can practice playing with bound flow and free flow, right? They're really, you could be free flow and still go slow. Doesn't have to be fast, or you can be bound flow and go fast, but it just has more control or less control. And then come in, roll it up. Think about it in your day, like how many things are you constricted around? How many things are you opening around? And even bound flow, it's just a certain amount of tension in the movement that adds this control. Inhale, open. Easy shake, 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 shake. Let it all go. Relax your tongue, relax your neck. Inhale, open. Let it go. Shake, shake, shake. Inhale, open. And exhale, shake, shake, shake. Let it go. I see there is at least one person watching. Hey, Quentin, is that you? Just kidding, but it might be. So I'm going to close this out. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that on there will be links. They're not there right now, but there will be links eventually under this. And you could also become a Patreon supporter or even a one-time donation on PayPal would be fabulous because I got to pay for heat. And right now, it's not looking so good. It is cold.